7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Here.
Rob Cruz,
Here.
Amy Grantham,
Here.
Nancy Hopper,
Here.
Katie Jess,
Here.
John Proudy,
Here.
Melissa Smits.
Present. Could you all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, you have in front of you the previous minutes for our meeting July 17th. What is the pleasure of the board?
To approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Rob Cruz,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess,
Aye.
John Proudy,
Aye.
Melissa Smits.
Aye. Next, you have in front of you the agenda. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Rob Cruz,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess,
Aye.
John Proudy,
Aye.
Melissa Smits.
Aye. Next, we have opportunity for audience. Nobody's out there. All right, next up. Our reports of the board. First off, just public information. We have a CASB Region 1 meeting that is Monday evening, August 28th, 2023, from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Buffalo School District, which Mr. Sanders knows well, but is forgetting rapidly. And then also, we have coming up the call for the nomination petitions. They are available August 9th. I've got that in my brain, sorry, August 9th. And there are 4 open seats for Board of Education directors coming up the election, this election. Anybody else have a report from the board, for the board?
I don't have a report, but I want to say that I'm doing the crosswalk again this year in the mornings. Yes,
Wonderful.
yes.
Yay, Chris.
We'll keep an eye out for you.
Okay. Come by and wave.
Next up, we have Superintendent, Mr. Sanders, your report.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Chris. I always know when I go down to Pioneer, the kids talk highly of you, and it's great to see you down there, so thank you. But something I don't have on here that I wanted to update you on, because we just did it last Thursday, was our truancy. I sent you a letter about truancy last year in a panel. We're actually got a panel together now. We are going to train them on the 21st, just prior to our school board meeting, about what their responsibility, what their role is. But our big goal is we know that the number one thing in student achievement is the teacher in the classroom, and the number 2 thing is the kid in the seat. So we got to get the kids in the seat to take part in the education and be active in their education. And I'm really proud of the work that this committee has been doing to put together, I think, a really good plan to get kids to be a little more, and families to be a little more involved. And I really think it's going to be good for our community to let families know what's available in our community and what resources we have available, because that's all part of this process, which I think is going to be really nice. Now, if somebody chooses not to go to it, then they just get referred directly to the court system. And hopefully we have some take advantage of it. So last 2 weeks ago, was it? Last week? I don't remember. Case convention. It was last week? 2 weeks ago. A group of us went up to Breckenridge, as we do every year. Had a great case convention, had a wonderful night with our families. We got together and had a meal, had a nice time. It's some good bonding time as an administrative team. Got to meet our new assistant principals and people in different positions. Got a lot of learning that's gone on. And this year, Case actually had about 200 more members this year. So it was, all of the sessions were pretty full. A lot of learning happened in there with around accountability, accreditation, We got to connect with some old friends, got to connect with some people at CDE, which was really nice to do. So thanks for allowing us to go, and it's just a great opportunity for our administrative team. And then I just wanted to update you real quick on our projects with Millig. The first is our sports complex. So Bev, if you don't mind showing, we're doing this in phases. Here's a picture of a concept of what we're trying to accomplish here. So if either Rob or John, if you have anything to add here, please do. We had a committee meeting the other night, and the only thing that we're sure of right now is the recommendation of the placement of the soccer facility itself. We believe that that's going to put it in a perfect position between the two fields, that we can actually share a concession stand, we can share, if need be, if weather gets bad, halftime, or shelter. We believe we can share a common entrance where when you come in, you can go either to the football game or to the soccer facility. So right now, that is the only thing that is really kind of been recommended as a sure thing. The rest, we're still debating to see what we can do to maximize the dollars that we have available to us. And we're going to make sure that we cover everything that's covered in the bond, and then anything we get above and beyond that is just gravy. So, anything you guys want to add to that, or?
I know we do have to relocate the shot put and discus just because of the location of the soccer field. So that was one thing that did come up. Then everything else, I think, was dependent on some other factors.
That soccer field is setting directly north and south.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
The setting sun. Soccer players.
And it would be a collegiate size soccer field.
100 yards by 80 yards, I believe it is. And so it's going to be a nice facility right there. The nice part about that is because we made that decision the other night in our committee meeting, the very next day, they started getting people contracted, and I'm told here in a week to 1 to 3 weeks, they'll be down there starting to grade the property, starting to break ground on it. And they tell me that the soccer facility should be about 90% done by the end of October. Now, I've built fields before, and I'm guessing it's gonna be probably closer to January. But even if it's January, you're still looking at having your girls' soccer play on this field in the spring, which would be
Inaugural season.
wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
So isn't there some buildings that need to be,
Yes, that's part of the demolition. That will be part of the raising of the property, you've got it, there's all kinds of, there's a water line that goes underneath there that's gonna have to be moved. There's a lot of work that has to be done before they can actually start putting the thing together. So, pretty exciting. We'll be coming back again probably in a few more weeks with more discussion on bleachers, just showing you pictures, things like that. The concept of the entryway, what we can potentially do with the lighting around the facility, the bleachers at the JV field, just some different things that we have to do in order to meet the obligations of the bond. And also, we think we're gonna have some money left over to do a few other things to improve the facility down there. So unless you got anything else, the two that were on that committee, that's.
No, I think that's about, covers it.
And if you have questions about placement, because right now, that's the big thing, they just need to place it and let's roll. The other one is the next project is the HVAC. We met the day after as a committee with them. They're running into a few snags here and there. We believe that because they did some work on the gyms to cool them off, they actually drew some air away from the classrooms on the southwest side of the building. And so there's gonna have to be some kind of booster pump put in there that's not very cheap. But we're feeling pretty good about where things are right now in terms of that project. Again, this one's gonna be the slower one because it's gonna take forever to put in and get the stuff back. But they are working on it, the design's still ongoing, and as soon as they get the parts in, they'll be starting to put them in. So questions on, that's the best grant that HVAC. Any questions on that one? The next one is the energy savings performance contract, the LED lighting, and I'm pretty excited about that. I went up to the high school into the library the other day, and it was so bright in there, I couldn't, it was amazing. And one of the teachers came in and said, you know, the funny thing about this is because we got all these new lights, it looks like we actually have a new building, and we have new things in there, because it's so much brighter. It's probably close to 80% done at the high school right now. I'm not sure. There's a few more things to do in the gym with the lighting. I know we're still waiting on the lighting in the auditorium, but I think the classrooms, the hallways, other kitchen, offices, I think most of those have already been done, and they've been moved through. Now, it's the same in every other building. They're gonna be working on that probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but they'll do it when school's not in session. They'll do it at night and replace those, and they are fast. They just move right through, and they just get it done, and then like, we'll come in one night, and this will be like this, and the next day it'll be all LED. And it's just great how they're doing. So really pleased with that portion of it. And one of the things that I heard up at Case, which was really great to hear, is somebody who had just done this said, you are not gonna believe the savings from just switching the lights over in your district. And so that was from one of my colleagues, which I thought was really kind of cool to hear. So anyway, that's my report, unless you have any questions.
I think the main gym is almost done, but I was in there day before yesterday, and it was only about 25% light, and it was already brighter than what it was when we'd go watch basketball.
If you go there now, it's 25%
Yeah.
power. There's gonna be a new board installed that you can light that place up. So
It'll be bright.
Okay, thank you.
Have to wear sunglasses.
All right, next, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Assessment, Dr. Fresco.
It says I have no report. However, just a couple of things. First and foremost, we've had 3 amazing days with our new certified staff. Jason and I were talking, I mean, we had some teachers come last week for Capturing Kids' Hearts 1. Some of them had started back in January, so I think we had 44 folks last week, and today we had about just less than 40. And so, but really great group of people and super engaging. And so we're launching them to their buildings tomorrow and ready for a new school year. And then secondly, my district assessment coordinator hat, just know that we have preliminary state assessment results, but they are embargoed until the State Board of Education gets the results. They're presented to the State Board on Thursday, August 17th. I know you've all been waiting for them, but after the 17th, we'll be able to disseminate that information to you all. Questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Mr. Fresco.
Good evening. You guys have a personal action report for your perusal tonight. We're making really good progress on our openings. Had quite a few classified hirings in the last few weeks, and we still have a few openings to fill, but making good progress there. Active job openings, we've got 1 certified position, which is just a speech and language pathologist. We've got 12 classified openings left throughout the district, 7 coaching, and just some various sub positions to continue to fill throughout the year. And my other one was onboarding, and Randy kind of talked about that. We had a great group of staff here today and look forward to seeing them in the buildings. Questions for me?
Thank you. Next up, our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Miller.
Good evening. Just a couple things. We are finally fully staffed in finance. We're very excited. Our new employee, Angelica, has really slid right in. I think she's going to be a great fit for our department. So we're just thrilled to have her. And then we're quickly running right into audit season. So for discussion and action, you will have the Moss Adams engagement letter to review and hopefully approve. The auditors are going to be on site August 21st, that Monday through that Thursday, just to do some preliminary field work. So we're off running with the audit. So that's pretty much what we're doing in finance.
Very nice. Any questions? All right. Moving along then to discussion items. We have that Moss Adams engagement letter for the audit. Any other discussion about that? Right, then we have the Colorado Department of Education IDEA funding eligibility certification. So many words. So Mrs. Jalen Edson, when did that happen? This summer?
It's been a year, yeah.
Wow, okay, congratulations. At any rate, so is there any discussion about that?
Just funding that's gonna come from CDE for our special needs kids.
Okay. All right, moving right along to the consent agenda, we have in front of us the Personnel Action Report. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown.
Aye.
Rob Cruz.
Aye.
Amy Grantham.
Aye.
Nancy Hopper.
Aye.
Katie Jess.
Aye.
John Proudy.
Aye.
Melissa Smits.
Aye. Now we have our action items. Action item A, Moss Adams LLP engagement letter for the audit. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown.
Aye.
Rob Cruz.
Aye.
Amy Grantham.
Aye.
Nancy Hopper.
Aye.
Katie Jess.
Aye.
John Proudy.
Aye.
Melissa Smits.
Aye. Action item B, Colorado Department of Education IDEA funding eligibility certification. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have two motions and 2 seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown.
Aye.
Rob Cruz.
Aye.
Amy Grantham.
Aye.
Nancy Hopper.
Aye.
Katie Jess.
Aye.
John Proudy.
Aye.
Melissa Smits.
Aye, and indeed it did pass. All right, advanced planning. Up next, Board of Education work session is August 8th, which is tomorrow, from 5 to 8. We might be a little bit later than that getting started. We'll start eating and then see when Katie can join us. Next is the first day of the 23-24 school year is Tuesday, August 15th. The next Board of Education meeting is August 21st, and the CASB Region 1 meeting is Monday, August 28th. Is there any other action to come before the board? If not, we will take a look at that self-evaluation that we have right there. This is another form that I had access to. This is the one that Randy Zila sent. And so it talks about meeting goals. Have we as a school board set a clear vision direction for the school community? I think that we can work on that tomorrow night with Brett. Do we have specific goals, action items for this meeting? I don't think we did. Do we identify, recognize school community contributions, successes? I think I would like to see that. Recognizing, remember when we used to have the teacher of the month? That was exciting. That was
I think
fun.
as far as contributions, if you're talking about donations or something that the public donates to the school or so, we do that, but.
Well, we have to.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know that, I mean, that falls under community
I
contributions.
just think like students or staff that goes above and beyond, that kind of thing. I would love to see that recognized somehow or other. Do we use data-driven information to support school board deliberation and decision-making?
I believe we're going to get better at that based on the discussion that we're going to have tomorrow. So at the work session, because I do think there's a lot of data that's out there. And it's, to me, it's more than a score. It's what's behind the score. And I think that's some of the things we need to talk about.
What I think too, though, with that is each of us kind of go and do our own research on that stuff and kind of bring a different viewpoint to the table from each of us too. I think that's important.
That's kind of, yeah, important for boards as a whole. Do our legal fiscal management decisions improve student outcomes and/or organizational development to enhance student outcomes? I would hope that everything that we do.
I hope so.
Goes towards that.
That's first and foremost.
Yeah. Do we have established communication practices to ensure the board is well-informed and current? I think we have quite a few. You do your update. We make sure the board agenda is posted in a reasonable amount of time. I think just with anything, we could probably work on that, right? Set goals for the next meeting. Do we have any goals we want to set for our next meeting on August 21st? We can work on that tomorrow. And then school board meeting preparation, we want a 14-day lead time. It's time to ask any questions of our superintendent. It is his job to get us information and to provide us with what we want to know. So if anybody has anything that they want to ask of Mr. Sanders, this would be an appropriate time to ask him. But we can also do that tomorrow, too.
Well, I do have one question, and it'll be really quick. Thinking about when we were talking about data, I know that there are some frontline assessments that are given to students, at least at the elementary grades. I'd like to know what those are, and if they do any pre-assessment identification for kids in middle school. I'm sure they don't for high school. They come in based on their whatever, but their credits, but
So you're talking about.
like
all-
DIBELS or
Yeah, DIBELS,
NWEA, or what are those at each grade level? Better.
We can have all that.
Actually, it's required by the state that I post an assessment calendar, and it'll be up on my website soon since they just released the CMAS dates and PSAT and SAT dates for 2024. PSAT, SAT is actually going online. Don't know what that looks like yet. But we are required by the state for any assessments we give that are either state-driven or local, like NWA, we are required to post our testing windows and who the assessment is actually guided by. The only thing in addition to that, Nancy, is that anything curriculum-driven, like those pre and post assessments, those are not posted on that assessment calendar, but it would, and I'd be happy to send you a copy so you don't have to dig around the website.
So you mentioned that to me today, actually, I think, and will it be ready by next meeting?
Yeah, actually, I was waiting on the CMAS dates. I don't know why they were so late. I usually guess like around the same time frame, but I really didn't want to have to post it twice. So I sent it out to principals last week, and I'm like, hold tight for the CMAS dates, and they just released it in our last district assessment coordinator.
CMAS and all of those are the state assessments,
But DIBELS, NWA, so all the windows actually, and then I've just laid out a spreadsheet similar to other districts. It's like, who drives this assessment? Is it the state assessment or is it a localized assessment?
And I'd like to also have one more. When are we looking at the GT kids for assessment? They used to do it in second grade?
Second grade and sixth grade is the universal screener. We use the COGAT. And Jamie Cosman is now in charge of the gifted and talented world. And we usually give the COGAT, I don't want to misspeak on this, but we usually give it really close in the fall. And so we score it out. And then we use a whole body, you have to use a whole body of evidence. So that's just one piece. Mhm. But happy to get you that as well. I don't think, know that Jamie's nailed down the dates yet.
So yes, maybe you can give us this tomorrow night too, is the feedback on your discussion with Billig that we were having about the turf. Some of the issues that you were going to discuss with them about the pricing and stuff like that from our meeting.
I should probably do that enough.
Okay. I mean, I just want to, I'm curious, inquiring minds want to know.
So that brings us right to the superintendent's role. Engage community, solve system, instructional, operational problems like, turf, provide feedback loop with school board. So in other words, we ask him what we want to know, he in turn brings that back to us, and then we in turn guide what happens with the rest of the school district. So any questions, any additions to our self-evaluation for this evening? All right, then we are adjourned at 7:24 PM.